Just as a quick disclaimer, broken, busted, and overpowered spell combos don't equate to them being fun. So if you are going to use any of these, it's up to your game master to allow them. So use that at your own discretion. Time for the King Kong combo. Are we just making things up at this point? After dipping a level into Warlock to get access to Armor of Agathys, I'd like to self-cast it and then cast Polymorph on myself, turning myself into a giant ape and immediately break concentration. That seems like a relatively short-lived combo. Well, thanks to the new wording of the spell, I get 157 temporary hit points that last until they're depleted or a long rest. You also get 5 extra from Armor of Agathys that are temporary, and all of this only goes away after it's depleted. Just to get this all straight, at level 8 you're saying you can get 162 temporary hit points that deals cold damage to anyone who attacks you. Well, that's balanced, isn't it? And at 17th level, instead of Polymorph, I could just use Shape Change and turn myself into a dragon turtle, which would give me 341 temporary hit points. Well, if that's the case, so can everyone else. Are you feeling hungry by chance? Perhaps I could pop some food in the microwave. I really wish you wouldn't. I'm simply going to cast Sickening Radiance and then utilize my familiar because of Arcane Abbey and Stains of being a Chronergy wizard to get them to trap the target in a force cage so they can slowly be exhausted to death. Sickening Radiance and Chronergy wizards aren't even in the new player's handbook. Backwards compatibility, baby, but if that is a sticking point for you, instead I'll trap the target with a Wall of Force and then also summon Mordekainen's Faithful Hound. Okay. And then you and I can just sit back and watch as my little ghost pup slowly tears the target limb from limb for the next 8 hours. Have I done something to upset you? I call this one the Silver Tongue Gambit. Not everything needs a name. First, I'll use Disguise Self to disguise myself as somebody that fits into the environment that we're in. Then, I'll use Mind Sliver as many times as it takes for it to be successful to reduce a potential wisdom save. What spell are you wanting to succeed? Suggestion. And then, depending on the target, I could tell them to give me a few thousand gold, tie themselves up and give me all of the information about their cult leader, or simply run on the spot for 8 hours until they're exhausted. None of those things sound remotely reasonable. Well, that's the thing, DM. They don't have to be anymore because the wording got changed, so now they only need to be achievable and not deal direct damage to the target or any of the target's allies. All of those things are very achievable. Does it factor in emotional damage? From this day forth, Todd will be playing as a Hydra. Isn't Todd a gnome barbarian? Not for long he isn't, because I'm going to true polymorph him into a Hydra and then maintain concentration for the hour so the effect is permanent. Are you cool with this, Todd? Very cool with it. Then, over the course of however long me and Todd have on this mortal realm, I'll deal 25 damage increments to destroy one of the heads and regrow 2 new ones, but also give him time to rest in between. Where are you going with this? And if I were to do this, I don't know, 700 times, Todd would have 1400 heads at a minimum that can all multi-attack. Well, fuck. I would like to melt everything. Do you happen to have an oversized magnifying glass and ample access to the sun? It certainly feels like it because of the changes to Conjure Minor Elementals. I can add up to 6d8 extra damage to any attack if I upcast to the 6th level. Well, that's a lot of damage. And it gets even more terrifying if I cast a 5th level Scorching Ray. Whoa, wait a second. So that's 6 attacks in total, each one dealing 2d6 plus 6d8 damage for an average of 34, or an average of 204 over all of them, excluding any spellcasting modifiers. Every single time this wizard does anything, I get a migraine. Are you okay, DM? Just give me a minute, okay? It's about time I went infinite. Please don't. I'd like to cast Simulacrum on myself. I really hate to burst your bubble, bud, but it says in the new wording of Simulacrum that a copy can't cast the spell. Oh, my bubble is far from burst, DM, because they can still cast Wish. Oh, damn it! So I cast Simulacrum, and then that Simulacrum wishes for the effects of Simulacrum to take place, creating another Simulacrum, and then we simply repeat this process as many times as I can be bothered until we have several hundred, if not 1,000 clones of myself. For what purpose, though? Execute Order 66. You're terrifying to be around. I would like to embody an ancient white dragon. You and me both, brother. No, I mean literally. As a divination wizard, I'm going to utilize the Portent spell to ensure that the ancient white dragon fails on my charm monster spell. Okay, so you're friends with the dragon? Then I'll hit them with Nistel's magic aura, which effectively, for the next 24 hours, treats them as a humanoid when using other spells on them. Right. And then I'll magic jar myself and attempt to possess the dragon's body, utilizing my last Portent save roll that I have. And when they inevitably fail, I'll get to keep all of my features and spells, but I'll be inside of the body of a dragon, have its speed, its strength modifier, its dex modifier, its con modifier. I'll be unstoppable. And if this ancient white dragon happens to succeed on the charisma saving throw, it's going to tear you limb from limb. I'm going to permanently trap any creature that you throw at me. Well, I've got to admire your confidence. It's not confidence, it's straight facts. First, I'll cast Demiplane and enter through the shadowy door and wait the full hour for that door to disappear. So just to get this straight, you're willingly trapping yourself. Then, I'll cast Gate under the feet of the target of my choosing, having them fall into the same Demiplane prison as me. Well, at least you've got company now. Then I'd immediately end concentration on Gate, cast Plane Shift, and leave them in this little ethereal prison that I've created unless they have the ability of plane shifting. Well, now they do. I've got 2 words for you, DM. Fully replenishable shield. That's 3 words. 19 levels of Abjuration Wizard so I can get access to Arcane Ward and stronger arcane spells, and then I've dipped 1 level into Warlock so I get access to Armor of Shadows, which allows me to cast Mage Armor at will. I think I'm following. So, whenever I cast Mage Armor at will, at a bare minimum, I'll get 39 points of extra damage that will shield me. And if I'm feeling extra spicy, I could instead cast Armor of Agathys, which would also deal extra cold damage. Well, that's great and all, but I think the 150 points of damage that Tarrasque will deal in a single turn will far outweigh your 39-point shield. I would like to create a nuke. Go on then. I want to store a Glyph of Warding with the spell Fireball on the cover of a book, which is activated when it's touched. There's quite a big difference between nuke and fire. I wasn't finished. Then I'll line every single page of this book with the same glyph, but these are activated whenever they're dealt fire damage. Okay, now it's getting a bit scary. So let's say this book has 200 pages. That's 1600 d8 of damage in a single 20-foot radius. There's one slight oversight to this grand scheme of yours. What would that be? What would happen if a fly were to simply land on the cover of the book? Alrighty, I'm gonna need a songstone and a genre. What? You know, like fantasy, western, sci-fi, or horror. What kind of spell has those prerequisites? Oh my dear sweet DM, this isn't about a spell combo. It's to help pick a track from Monument Studios' new audio library, Fantasy Plus. This video is sponsored by Monument Studios, who have just released their brand new and high quality audio library, Fantasy Plus, which has over 130 hours of premium audio files ready at your disposal. The audio you have at your disposal ranges from 1,500 different scores, over 3,000 different sound effects, some of which have been included in this video, over 350 detailed location-based sound design, and over 250 different environmental landscapes recorded from all different regions across the world. It's all well and good to talk about the suite of assets you have at your disposal with Fantasy Plus, but I always find it's easier to try something before you buy it. So with that in mind, I've got a 90-day code set up under Arlentric, which you can use at checkout on Monument Studios' website to get access to everything Fantasy Plus has to offer. So, if you'd like to check it out for yourself, click on the link in my description, and thank you again Monument Studios for sponsoring this video.